Hey guys, and welcome back to Clinical Physio with me, Phil Richards. In today's video, we're going to be going through resisted tests for the wrist joint, so you can identify if the muscles involved are weak or painful. So as to not slow your video down, we're only going to be testing on one side, but of course in clinical practice, we always want you to compare it to left and right sides to inform your patient diagnosis. So when we're thinking of resisted tests, we're thinking of two key things: pain and power. And power is graded on the Oxford scale between 0 and 5. Let's get into it. So let's go through our resisted test for wrist flexion. So you can do the test in whatever variation position you want to, be it tested from this position here with the elbow on the table in this way. I'm going to go for just sort of elbow at 90 degrees and wrist in somewhat pronation. The key thing is that we're going to start with the wrist in some degree of flexion, kind of halfway, 45 degrees, something like that would be ideal. If you want to have the fingers open or closed, again, doesn't matter, as long as you're feeling for what's happening around. So all I'm going to do from here is, once we're in position, is ask Polly to just keep your wrist there and don't let me move you. From here, I'm going to put one hand on the forearm to secure it, and then this hand is going to lever to try and bring the wrist into extension so I can resist flexion. That's all there is really to it. Please be aware of compensations from the elbow or shoulder, i.e. excessive pulling or movement. You don't want to cloud your judgment with it. So we can just relax down. So let's talk about our two key things for this. So it's pain and power. So if we're thinking of pain, we're primarily thinking of the muscles, a muscle lesion. So that could be flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor carpi radialis, flexor digitorum superficialis in the profundus group, palmaris longus, flexor pollicis longus, stuff like that. Anything like that could be part of our muscle lesion problem. And then we want to think about scoring the power on the Oxford scale between 0 and 5. So common pathologies for this is, because we're testing the wrist flexion, is the flexor compartment. So the most common one you're going to get is the golfer's elbow. So pain somewhere from the medial epicondyle down here. So now we're going to look at resisted extension of the wrist joint. As the therapist would normally be sat opposite, I'm going to sit to the side so you can see what's going on at home. The patient is going to be seated, standing, it doesn't matter. The main thing we want to look at is making sure the elbow shoulder doesn't get too involved. So we want the elbow tucked in at 90 degrees elbow flexion. From here, we're going to have the hand in a pronated position. We're going to ask the patient to make a loose fist and just pull the wrist up a bit. So this is our setup position. What we're going to do from here is have one hand cupping under to support the wrist. The other hand is going to provide the pressure here for our resisted pressure. So all we say to our patient is, Paul, please don't let me move you. And then we can provide our force here. And that's it for as far as the test goes. We are, of course, looking for two things: pain and power. We're thinking of pain. We're thinking more of muscles primarily for this test. So then we want to be thinking of our extensor carpi ulnaris, extensor carpi radialis longus and brevis, extensor digitorum, extensor pollicis brevis and longus, extensor digiti minimi, and extensor indices from the pinky and the index finger can also be involved, as they will cross the wrist joint. And then with regards to power, we're looking between 0 and 5 on the Oxford scale. With regards to pain from the muscle lesion, the most common one you'll see is the tennis elbow, the lateral epicondylitis. There's around sort of 6 key areas of pain tenderness that will manifest around here. But without complicating it, it's essentially a pain area somewhere around here, either locally, right at the lateral epicondyle, or more towards the muscle belly. That's the main one you're looking for. With regards to a normal test, you should be able to put a hefty amount of pressure on this to be a 5 out of 5 normal. Some tests, such as resisted straight leg raise, because it's a long lever, you can expect it, not to be able to put your full body weight behind it. But this is one where you should be able to give it a fair bit of oomph. If you can't, there's a chance it's still weak. So just look out for that. So now we're going to look at resisted radial deviation of the wrist. So as a therapist, we'll ideally be sat opposite. We're going to sit to the side today so you can see what's going on. Our patient is going to be sat comfortably, and as long as the elbow is in at kind of 90 degrees flexion, it doesn't matter if it's kind of particularly rested down on the table or plinth or not. So somewhere around here. So the next bit of the setup is we're going to bring them into a pronated position, and we're thinking about resisting, pushing this way so that we're resisting the radial deviation movement. So handling wise, a few variations. Again, it doesn't matter as long as you're trying to get a pure movement. So some people swoop in from here, like a sideways handshake position, and pressure here. Other people will make them do a light fist and provide the pressure on the outside. It doesn't really matter. Conceptually, you're just pushing back this way and making sure that you're not doing it in degrees of extension or flexion. Why would you pick one over the other? Well, for instance, if they've got an irritable thumb tendon from de Quervain's, which we'll talk about in a second, you might prefer to swoop in here. Now you know that you're not going to be compressing it here or otherwise. So let's get straight to it. So we're going to ask the patient to go into radial deviation to start with. From there, we say to the patient, don't let me move you, and I'm going to come in here and then provide the resisted pressure. And that's all there is to it, keeping an eye on different compensations. For instance, I could feel and see the elbow wanting to pop out here. Let's get straight into it though. We're looking at pain or power because this is a resisted test. For pain, we'll be thinking about local muscle lesions. So what muscles are involved in this action? We're thinking about flexor carpi radialis, extensor carpi radialis and longus brevis, abductor pollicis longus, and extensor pollicis longus and brevis. All of these guys are going to be doing this movement and therefore contributing to the resisted test. When would this happen? Well, anything to do with repetitively bringing the thumb up, so a repetitive strain injury, or for instance, anytime these muscle groups are strained, so for instance, like a cook that's carrying pans all day, this will cause excess strain and potentially inflammatory responses. That would be a kind of typical thing to look for. With regards to power on the resisted test, we're always looking at the Oxford scale between 0 and 5. So let's look at resisted ulnar deviation at the wrist joint. As a therapist, we'll ideally be in front of the patient. I'm going to be to the side so you can see what's going on. Our patient can be sat or standing. It doesn't matter. The key point is that the elbow is tucked into the side, roughly 90 degrees elbow flexion, to try and eliminate compensations from the elbow and the shoulder. From here, we take the wrist into a degree of ulnar deviation. This is going to be our starting position. We have one hand that scoops under and supports under the forearm. The other hand is going to grab around the ulnar side. And we're going to have a gentle amount of compression on the top and bottom so that when we provide our force, we're not just crushing the pinky. So we're in this position. I've got a light bit of pressure with my thumb and my fingers underneath, and I say to the patient, don't let me move you. I then begin to slowly increase my force and see how much pressure and resistance they can take. And that's essentially it for the test. So as with all resisted tests, we're looking for two things, pain and power. If we're thinking about pain, we're thinking primarily about the active muscle component because that's what we're trying to isolate and test. So the muscles for this are, we're thinking of the flexor carpi ulnaris and the extensor carpi ulnaris. And there's not a typical pathology associated with this in the same way for sort of a radial deviation where we're stressing here. So don't expect to be looking out for anything particular. This is why you'll want to pay attention to the occupation hobbies or the mechanism of injury for something more specific. With regards to power, we're going to score that on the Oxford scale between 0 and 5. So let's go through resisted supination, focusing at the wrist joint. So the therapist is going to be sat opposite the patient. Well, this could be sitting or standing, doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that the elbow is tucked into the side when we do this. So with our patient opposite us, we're going to have the elbow to 90 degrees, as we said, and we're going to start with the thumb facing up. Normally, you would put in a mid-range position, and you still can. You're just going to find this is a little bit more faffy if we're already kind of half over. So there's a little bit of leeway with this one. But essentially what we need to know is we're blocking the supination mechanic, so we're doing resisted supination. So if you think that we need to go this way, we need to block that movement. So you're going to get your hand to block this movement. So this is the easiest way to remember it, because the setup looks a little bit funny, is whichever way you need to block it with your hand first. So we wrap the hand over like that. The other hand just comes in as if you're shaking hands, but the forearm, if that makes sense. So it's like you're saying, hello, nice to meet you, but you're swooping into the forearm. From here, you just ask the patient to turn their palm so it's facing towards the ceiling. So can you do that for me now? And thus we have resisted supination. So what are we looking for? Well, always with resisted tests, we're thinking about pain and power. So with regards to pain, we're thinking of muscle contractions with resisted tests, so muscle problems. So what muscles will do this supination action? We're thinking of the biceps brachii, the brachioradialis, and the supinator. So any one of those could be responsible for our patient's pain. With regards to the power, we're using the Oxford scale between 0 and 5, so we just make a note of both of those things and add that into the rest of our assessment. So now let's look at resisted pronation with a focus on the wrist joint. So as a therapist, we're going to be sat or stood opposite our patient, and we're going to have the elbow at 90 degrees flexion tucked into the sides to try and get rid of shoulder contributions and compensations. We're going to start with the thumb facing up. So normally we'd start isometrics in our mid-range position. However, because the pronation, supination ones can be a little bit faffy, I would recommend you start with the thumb up. So all we do from here is we want to think about blocking this movement of pronation. So think about which way you want to go, and now think about the hand that's going to be blocking it. So if we're going in this way, my right hand is closest here, so I'm going to use that to block it. So you have your palm pressed against the radius bone, because that's the one we want to block. Then we just curl our fingers over. The other hand is going to come in like a handshake and just support over the forearm. From here, we ask our patient to turn their hand so the palm is facing down towards the floor. And as they do that, they'll be performing pronation, and we have resisted pronation. So when we're doing that, we need to think about two things, pain and power. As we think about pain, in resisted movements, we're primarily thinking about the muscles. So what muscles do we have? Well, we have pronator teres, pronator quadratus, and brachioradialis. So if we're getting pain on this test, it's likely that one of those three muscles could potentially be at fault. And also we want to grade the power on the Oxford scale between 0 and 5. So just make a note of those two things, add it to the rest of your assessment. So let's summarize this video of resisted tests of the wrist joint. Go through the resisted tests of wrist flexion, extension, radial deviation, ulnar deviation, supination, and pronation. Consider the patient position, the therapist position, and handling as we have gone through in the video. For each of these tests, make a note of power, which is noted on the Oxford scale between 0 and 5, and any reproduction of pain. And that completes our video on resisted testing of the wrist joint. So taking a resisted test, so we can put it together with your active range of movement testing and your passive range of movement testing, we should now have a clear picture of whether an active contractile element is responsible for our patient's condition. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon, right here on Clinical Physio.